Yeah, so if you see my district there, the new one that they would institute, it's been called the Elephant District because it kind of is shaped like an elephant with the trunk there going into Sacramento. But my main argument against it is that gerrymandering is wrong. I oppose it wherever it occurs. I'm against it in Texas. I'm against it in every other state that's looking at doing that. And I'm against it in California. And so we as Californians, we can't do anything about what's happening in any other state, but we can reject gerrymandering in our own state. And the way to do that is by voting no on Proposition 50. And by the way, the gerrymandered map they're trying to adopt here in California, it's not just a gerrymandered map. It is literally, it's been called by Princeton University's Gerrymander Project, one of the 2 worst gerrymanders of the last 50 years. They gave it an F grade for fairness. And if you ask me, Elex, Californians deserve a lot better than an F. Well, the problem is when you fight fire with fire, the whole world burns. So Governor Newsom is saying, well, Texas did this, and that's a bad gerrymander. But California doing it in response, that's a good gerrymander. Well, the problem is now we have, North Carolina and Missouri that are looking at redistricting to help Republicans. Is that a good or a bad gerrymander? And then you also have, states like Illinois or Maryland or Virginia that are going to redistrict to help Democrats. Is that a good gerrymander or a bad gerrymander? Even Texas would tell you, like, oh no, we were only doing it in response to New York and other states that have done that before. And so the inexorable logic of this, or a consequence of this contorted logic, is just this race to the bottom that degrades democracy everywhere. And so I think my position is much simpler. It's that gerrymandering is wrong wherever it occurs, and that's why we should reject it in California. Right. Well, I think I do have a lot of support for it. I have members on both sides of the aisle. Well, that's one problem, exactly, is when you don't have the House here, you can't vote on literally anything. There's a lot of other things we should be voting on. But I've made I've made it very clear I'm very disappointed that the Speaker has not brought this bill to the floor for a vote, because I hear from Democrats and Republican members all the time that they think this is the solution. I can't tell you what the Speaker actually thinks. There's a long and ignominious history of gerrymandering in the United States, but this seems to be reaching levels that we've never seen before, and I just think it's terrible for the country. It's terrible for representation, and so in addition to adopting this bill, I've also encouraged the creation of a bipartisan commission in Congress to come up with a solution where we just get rid of gerrymandering across the board in the United States by the time of the next census when we're actually supposed to redistrict. I agree. Absolutely. Oh boy, okay. I never actually watched Veep, and we've been watching that, my wife and I, the first season, and it's interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I was actually a big fan of The West Wing growing up, so I don't think it quite reaches those levels. But it's entertaining in its own way. Oh man, that's a tough one. Maybe somewhere in between. I mean, I think the West Wing was a little more aspirational, whereas Veep is maybe a little more grounded in reality. Favorite quote or motto? Oh man. California is worth fighting for. That's what I always, write when I'm signing things and whatnot. That's what I've been saying the last several years that I've been involved in politics. It's what got me involved in politics, is I think we've got the greatest state in the country, but we also got a lot of problems. And with a little more sanity and common sense, we could really anything could be possible.